Hello, everyone, and welcome back to opening night trivia. It's gonna be weird, but
Yep,
this is a new show that David and I are doing that I think we have permission to do,
we
called
do.
"Let's Love Star Wars." This is gonna be a new series where we take franchises that David and I both love and examine them in a hopefully purely positive environment. And we thought, as a place to start, for David and I, there is nothing that we agree on more than that Star Wars.
Yep,
Pretty darn good. We
yep.
both love Star Wars. My name is Alex. That is David. David, to put it mildly, Star Wars has been very influential on both of our lives.
Yep.
In and out of trivia, I know that we have both used Star Wars as strength and had pretty good success with it across different leagues. Um, I know that your story with Star Wars is quite personal, but
Yeah.
just to very briefly talk. We're not going to do this every episode,
Yeah.
but because this is the first episode of Let's Love Star Wars, uh, I will say that my experience with Star Wars began when Revenge of the Sith was coming out. I had no prior knowledge of Star Wars. We were not a movie family. My parents admitted to knowing what Star Wars was much later after the fact, but just being a fan of fantasy and sci-fi, I was a very strange kid. I was a nerd even back then, if you can imagine it. Um, they thought just seeing the trailers that was something that I might be interested in, and we went. It was the premiere opening night, and we went to our local theater, the Rivergate 8, which has since sadly closed down. And I walked in, and it was a whole event. I had never seen anything like it. There were people dressed up. There were signs. It was not like a big movie theater. It was not like an expensive thing. It was a very low rent movie theater. Actually, probably why it closed down, honestly. But people were dressed up. There were lines to do all the things that weren't normal lines to do. And we sat down, packed house. Again, very strange for this theater. Probably why it closed down. Actually, now that I think about it, that's probably it. And to be perfectly honest, what unfolded was in front of my eyes was something that made me feel things that I hadn't felt for a very long time, not since I had previously seen The Lord of the Rings: Return of the King. Just such striking visuals, the colors, the storytelling, everything was so dramatic. Even though I had absolutely no context for any of it, it still was very impressed upon me at the time. Uh, and I went home, and they were because the Revenge of the Sith had been coming out. They put on different stations. They put on Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones, and so then later I was able to go back and get all the context, and it just made it the storytelling much more for me. And then all the rest, getting involved in this in this community, having to go back. Excuse me, getting to go back and revisiting and over again with different perspectives that I gather from so many of you people that I sometimes refer to as reasons why I drank. You
Yeah.
are, but there you are also providing some reasonable context. That's it for me, David. Your story with Star Wars.
Okay. I was like, I could probably drink now. He
I
doesn't
wrapped it
seem
up
like.
early because
All right. Star Wars, as everybody knows in this community, and if you don't know in this community by now, you haven't spoken to me before, probably. It's like my big thing. Like Alex said that he remembers what he felt when he first saw Star Wars. I don't really, because I do have some what people have told me about that day, because I was 2 or 3 years old. I think I was 2 at the time. I could talk. I was a very talkative kid at 2 years old, and I was a very stubborn kid at 2 years old as well. And I often spent a lot of time on my aunt's, in plural, home, because my parents were working at the time. So I usually, after school, I went to their home because they were teachers. So they went out at the same time as I did. So that doesn't matter. Uh, and I spent a lot of time, and they had like a huge Disney animation VHS collection which also ties in why in my other fandom strength. They had a huge VHS DVD, not DVD, VHS collection in Disney, and I always watched those on on repeat. I was watching Lion King, Hercules, and Sword in the Stone on repeat, 24/7, 5 days a week because we didn't have school on weekends. So that was what I was doing after school. And my uncle used to come home and he wanted the TV, but obviously the small kid was on the TV and he usually got pissed that he couldn't use the TV. So one day he got fed up with me watching Lion King for I think the fourth time in a row. And that's again what he tells me. And he told me, no, we are going to watch a different movie. We are going to watch Star Wars. You, David Garcia, are going to watch Star Wars. And I said, no, I don't I don't want to watch Star Wars. Well, we ended up watching Star Wars, and then since that day, it became not the Lion King, but just Star Wars on repeat 24/7. I remember watching that movie with 2 years old, and it opened a completely new world for me because I was used to watching animated movies, like real life movies with those effects that were completely fantastical for me for a 2 year old. The laser swords, the force, the ships, the space, everything for me. Watching it in real life was an experience that I will never ever forget. And I fell in love with Luke Skywalker. And then after that, I just went all in on Star Wars because I remember that when I was 5 years old, we are talking about 1999, just Phantom Menace was about to come out. And I had just recently learned how to properly read. So I decided to go to the public library and pick up one of those. I think it was that one. I didn't really know what was happening when I was reading that book because it is a very political book for a 5-year-old to read. But I just skipped everything until Luke Skywalker came up. I met Mara Jade. I met Thrawn with 5 years old, and I didn't know what was happening. I just knew I liked it because Luke Skywalker was in a book. I loved reading. I was a kid that loved reading, and I had Luke Skywalker in a book. So after that, I just started reading shit. I just started watching the movies as much as I could. I recorded from the TV in a Virgin VHS all the trilogy that they did it once, and so I could have it at my home because only my uncle had them. So yeah, that's my story with Star Wars. And then after everything, Star Wars has always been present in the biggest challenges of my life. So I think that's why I grow so attached to them, because I have a lot of people by now, because the match already came out, a lot of people by now know that I have a history with hospitals. And in hospitals, I always watch a lot of Star Wars. I always read a lot of Star Wars. And Star Wars is something that has kept me together. Like during my first, one of my very worst hospitalizations, I was actually preparing for a movie trivia Schmodown Star Wars audition, which I nailed in the hospital because I spent most of the time watching Star Wars movies and taking notes. And yeah, and then when I got like a very, very bad news, Star Wars came back with The Mandalorian, and Luke Skywalker showed up in The Mandalorian season 2. So that was great. I don't know. I always feel like Star Wars has done something after a very bad break for me. In 2015, I just lost my kidney again, and I was going through a very bad transplant, and then Star Wars came out, which is the movie that we are going to talk about today. So, yeah, and that's me with Star Wars. I have a lot of other stories, but I think I have already told too much. So yeah, that's Star Wars
Well,
for me.
I mean, this is the show to do it on. And I mean, not to again, this is a show where the two of us are going to host, so I can proudly say, and I don't think that I don't think it's going to surprise anyone to say that. I mean, we manage each other in different leagues.
Yeah.
We're quite good friends. I think I definitely see you more than I see my parents, for example. So I can honestly say we've done shows, we've done stuff with Star Wars before.
Yep.
I can honestly say that I wouldn't probably have the relationship that I have with Star Wars. I know I said the opposite yesterday, but I was lying. You see, I was lying. But I did want to put it on record, true facts right here, just for everyone to hear. I would probably not have the relationship I have with Star Wars were it not for David Garcia.
Aw.
Yeah. All right. That's enough of that. Anyway, so this is going to be the show where we just talk about the lovely things about Star Wars. We are starting with The Force Awakens for no obvious reason. I mean, some of you know, but no obvious reason. We're starting with The Force Awakens. What are you going to do about it? And throughout this process, we're going to be telling you exactly where we have ranked them in separate of each other. We have ranked them. David, where is The Force Awakens on your rankings?
I will tell you right now because I don't have Letterboxd open.
Oh dear.
And I forgot. I think it's number 5.
We talked about the format of the show
I
2 minutes before we went live.
Yeah, it's number 5. It's number 5.
Number 5, that is quite high, I would say. For me, The Force Awakens is my number 2.
Cool.
So this is a labor of love that we were doing for The Force Awakens. With that out of the way, we are going to obviously there's no better place to start there. It would not. I don't think Star Wars would be Star Wars without honoring the man, the myth, the legend. We are going to start with our first segment. That is, we're going to go to the John Williams corner. Yep. John. Oh, hi. I didn't know we were doing graphics. Yes, John Williams, of course, one of, if not the great film composers of this or any era. And
the most recognizable, like, I think his tunes are the most recognizable of film.
I think so as well.
Yeah.
I know a Giacchino anytime it's here, but I just have to hear like the light strings or the heavy brass, and I'm like, no, I know who that is. That's a John Williams. I know that shit. The scores, I'll be honest, for The Force Awakens make me cry. Here in a second, the Nashville Symphony is going to be playing actually the score for The Force Awakens, and I'm going. 100%, I'm going. I just don't know how close I'm going to get. I don't know how comfortable I am with people seeing me cry in public. David, do you have a favorite song from the Force Awakens score?
I actually do.
Okay.
And it is it's the March of the Resistance.
We didn't talk about this beforehand, but my favorite is also the Resistance March. I think that's fantastic. I think it's a fantastic
I think it is. I think it's like, for me, I think it's the theme that I remember from. I mean, it's not that the thing that I remember. I remember a lot of those, but I think it's that every single movie for me has a theme that kind of like transcends that movie. And I think the March of the Resistance is the one that transcends that movie because it has been played in shows. It has been played in the subsequent movies, in the following
movies.
In the following, it has been played in the following movies. You're right. My voice does go higher when I start talking about Star Wars. And I think that the Resistance is a very good group that the sequels has given us, and we are talking about the positives. I think the Resistance is a great faction. I think it's a great faction of Star Wars that the sequels have given us, and that music, I think it is a rebellious one, which I am going to say more because it's one of the very, very few marches, musically speaking, that doesn't have drums.
You know what? You're right, actually.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
that's a great
went
observation.
I went to orchestration of Star Wars, and one of the things that they said was that most of the marches they have drums, and that one doesn't, because only John Williams can make a song say, "I'm going to do a march, and I'm not going to put any drums on it because I am fucking John Williams." And you know what? It's going to be iconic.
I absolutely agree. I think that that is an amazing touch as well. Um, I know that for at least a while you've used Star Wars songs. So this, well, honestly, I'll be honest. The John Williams corner is going to be your segment to talk about it. I really do gravitate to, I really do gravitate to the Resistance March. The Resistance I think is really interesting, and I almost prefer the Resistance to the Rebellion. Uh, Only to say that I think that the Resistance felt, or the Rebellion felt much bigger, whereas the
Yeah,
Resistance feels like a much smaller ragtag, like reactionary group.
it shouldn't be, but it feels like that.
It is. It does feel that way anyway. And it the exclusion of the drums, actually I think kind of helps with that. This isn't like
Yeah.
an aggressive group. This is a group that's going, oh god, this is happening. Okay. Uh, okay, what are we doing? What are we doing? What are we doing? It's they're it's almost like they're improvising it as they go. Like, okay, they showed up, we got to do something. All right, what are we doing? What are we doing? What are we doing? Um, since we both talked about the Resistance March, I didn't know we were going to do that. I would actually also like to shout out the Scavenger. Actually, is a really
Right.
interesting piece of work as well. It's not a heavy song or
No,
anything. It's just a lighter melody.
you are
But
talking
one,
about race theme, right?
yeah, race theme. I think they have,
Yeah, that one.
yeah,
Okay.
it is just a bit of light melody, but it is one that is reminiscent, or at least a bit nostalgic. And as
Yeah.
soon as you start hearing it, you do understand that this is the protagonist of this set of films. This is the
Yeah,
one that
because
we're,
if you remember, I don't. Well, I didn't know you at that time, so I don't
sure.
know. I was going to say, yeah, because if you remember when we theorized, no, we didn't theorize.
No, we
So
specifically didn't, but yes,
I remember theorizing because we didn't know who was the main character of that movie.
yeah,
We didn't know because we all. I think most people thought Finn was going to be the main character
yeah,
of the movies. But I remember with my best friend saying, I think the girl has, it's going to be very important though. I
yeah,
think the girl is somebody going to be, yeah. And yeah, as you said, as soon as it started playing, the sun planet,
yeah,
I was like, okay, that's our farmer. That's our farmer right there.
yeah.
That's
When blue milk, please.
and I think the music also it gives a sense of innocence that the character clearly has. She's more innocent than Luke, like by a landslide. She's
That's
more
interesting.
capable.
I don't actually necessarily agree with that, but she's
I,
more willing to stay put.
I
Her theme is more
okay,
like, is more peaceful.
yeah, I think she's more capable than
Yes,
Luke and more
I think so.
aware than Luke, but she's more innocent than Luke in a
Okay.
sense. I think that's what I was going for it, and her theme is not epic at all. There's
No.
no epicness in that theme, which Luke's theme or the Force theme, rather, it
Yep.
is. So yeah,
All right. That's it for the John Williams corner. Don't worry, we'll be back. As we go to our next segment, the battles.
yeah,
The Force Awakens actually has a few set pieces. The whole bit with the Rathtars, the space battle or the battle above on Jakku, battle
yep,
above Jakku,
yeah.
um, uh,
Starkiller
Starkiller
battle,
base,
the
yeah,
battle in
Starkiller,
I forgot the name, in
never mind.
Takodana, battle in
Takodana.
Takodana. Yeah,
Which of these battles would you say left the most impression on you?
I I think I'm gonna say the Takodana battle.
Okay,
Yeah,
that is now that is a very long uh At least it's a fairly long bit.
Yeah,
The battle happens in waves, as battles sometimes generally do.
yeah,
But I think the Takodana battle is actually really interesting because it is very resistance or very rebellion. Uh,
yeah,
they've been captured.
yeah,
Hope is lost. Uh, and then all of a sudden, here comes the reinforcements.
yeah. Because and again, sorry, I am going to like poke my head again in the John Williams corner, if you don't
Yeah,
mind,
go ahead.
because I remember specifically watching that scene of the X-wings flying through the water with the first time we actually hear the Resistance theme
Hmm.
with with all that, and we actually see Poe really be the pilot. I think that's one of the best piloting bits of the entire, not only the entire sequence, the entire saga.
Yeah,
That's one of the most spectacular piloting bits, and I really, really love it. That's sequence of TIE fighters that he blows up like one, two, and then he
yeah. It's
turns
like
and
three or
does
four in
another one.
rapid succession.
Yeah, and it's so awesome. And we are like, that's Poe, and yeah, that guy, yeah, that's the pilot, that's the guy, that's cool. And I think the fact that we see somebody that's not used to wield a lightsaber just use it, not trying to cut his arm off, that's really cool to see, because I think people mistakenly think that a lightsaber is as easy to use as any other melee weapon, and it's not, because it's
No,
very, very dangerous.
I actually do think that's very interesting because Finn's use of a lightsaber is very rudimentary. The man is holding it as far away from his body as he possibly can in a lot of scenes. Yeah, that the very good observations. I do think the battle of Dagodana is great. I'm struggling a bit here with the battles. I do like the battle on Jakku. I think the chase sequence
Okay, okay,
where
okay.
the Falcon is being chased by several TIE fighters. Although I recently saw a Star Trek movie that had almost the exact same sequence, like beat for beat, in one of J.J. Abrams' Star Trek movies. I think it's I'm pretty sure it's Into Darkness, but it
We
could
often
be.
we often joke that JJ's Star Trek was like a trial for Star Wars. And
I'm almost sure that it was. Um, I don't know. Sagadon is pretty great, but I think ultimately I will probably have to settle. I do love the lightsaber battle on Starkiller. Uh,
really,
yes, um, I had to defend it quite a bit when the Force
okay.
Awakens came out.
Well, this
Because
is the segment to do it.
well, I'm not going to defend. This is not a defense at all. It's an
Okay.
overwhelming praise.
Okay.
Um, I think the lightsaber battle, for one, I think it shows that even significantly injured, Kylo Ren is a heavy threat
Yeah.
to is a heavy threat, but not invincible.
Mhm.
Because throughout the whole oh, God, this is gonna be a whole thing. Throughout the film, they've built up a few things, but they've built up Chewie's bowcaster
Mhm.
as just like a way overpowered weapon than we
No,
thought
I
that
didn't
it was
think about
before.
that before.
Kylo takes a direct like center mass hit and then walks away from a thing that we have seen blow up like like sent stormtroopers flying.
Yeah.
He takes the hit and walks away from it. He's very compromised, very injured. Is able to overpower Finn somewhat fairly easily.
Yeah.
Finn, held his own for a few moments, but then something very interesting happens. Kylo Ren disengages his lightsaber. He reaches for Anakin's lightsaber, and
Thank you for saying Anakin's lightsaber, by the way.
well, yes, well, it is. Sorry. um,
Thank you.
yeah, he reaches for Anakin's lightsaber, and then the Force takes over. Ray manages to grab it through the Force. This is the Force Awakens. That's the name of the movie. And then she kind of kicks his ass. and it's hilarious. She injures him, and it's not like the winner is basically clear, but it's not like an overpowering victory.
Yeah.
She basically just gets the better of an already injured man. Um, I really like that whole sequence. It's dark,
Mhm.
like very very dark. You know, we
But you
get
can
onto
see what's
JJ
happening,
Abrams.
which we can say the same about other things.
Oh my goodness. We watch a lot of comic book movies. It's a hard bit to have a dark scene and also be visible. Oh my god. Um, the use of color throughout actually throughout the use of color throughout the Force Awakens I think is spectacular.
Yeah.
Um, I really like how it ends up, and then the separation between the two to break up the battle. I think it's just like a nice way to end it. Like we've had where they are right now. This is the first battle ultimately goes to Rey. I would just have to say that's probably my favorite.
Okay. I'm going to talk about that too. I think I remember. I mean, I had criticized stuff about that battle, but I have to say that watching it on the theater, I was like, yes, yes, go. So I think it does its job really, really well. I think the lightsaber handling of both people is really reminiscent of the original trilogy, which I really love because I honestly my favorite lightsaber battles are in the prequels. I always like the flourished style of the prequels, but the original trilogy battles are something primal and something like I don't have English vocabulary, but I something like very heavy.
Sure.
I think
There's a lot of weight. Every
it
motion
feels
feels like it could
heavy.
be the end.
It feels heavy, and I think that the sequel trilogy reconnects with that type of fighting.
Sure.
So I really like that because I wasn't expecting to see that type of fighting. I was expecting more choreographed and flourished prequel fight. So I really love that, and yeah, and I also really like Kylo Ren's fight style. I really like it.
Kylo
I'm not
Ren's
a
fight
fan. I'm not a
style.
fan of a lightsaber, but I really like his fight style. His fighting style is just brutal, and I love it.
Kylo Ren's fighting style can roughly be described as sarcastic. Every move he makes, uh, it it's like he thinks he's gonna beat you with every single
Yeah.
move. He isn't. And a lot of them are just like batted away, like very easily. But he thinks it. Like like he thinks it, and a lot of that is credit to the actor Adam
Yeah.
Driver. But yeah,
Well,
I do.
he has military training, so
It's true. That is very true. Marines, maybe I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I just remember the photo with the ears.
Yeah. Oh God, his ears. So thanks, Adam. You brought a lot to that
Yeah.
character, I guess. All right, that was the battles. And now we go on to what I have here is called the rest. This is the rest of the movie. We can just talk about whatever we want now. So I mean, just to kick us off here, I think the strength through all these films. I mean, Star Wars as an entity. I think the strength really is the characters. I think just overall. So I will just kick us off and say, Finn and Poe. Am I right?
Yeah.
Finn and
I
Poe.
I think the chemistry between the golden trio of every trilogy is very important.
Yeah.
And I think they are able to hit it. Like maybe not with every character of all the trios. Like maybe Anakin, Padme maybe could be a little. But I think if it was on Anakin and Obi-Wan in the prequels, the golden trio in general in the original trilogy, and I think Finn and Poe are awesome together because we don't see a lot of interaction between the other in this particular movie, and we
That's true.
are focusing on this one. But yeah, Finn and Poe, that from the get go, because it's the right thing to do.
You need a pilot.
I need a pilot. Yeah, that is just
it's a moment of complete and total honesty that one guy's lying about. like Like it's immediately like there was a lie, and the other one's like, nah. I know what's going on here. I that is maybe one of my favorite scenes in the entire movie is, you need a pilot. I need a pilot. Yeah. It's just it's very like Finn is trying to justify it as however he can. Like it's the right thing to do to get no, you just need someone to get you out of here. It's fine, bro. Like he'll do it. He'll do it. It's all good.
And the fact that he kind of adopts Finn from the get-go to his like
gives him
like,
the name. Finn had a serial number basically before, and then he got a name maybe 20 minutes after meeting. They are each other's hype man to a level that is like astronomical. Anytime that any one of them succeeds, it's a success for both of them. Did you see that? Did you see that? I saw it, buddy. Let's go. It's absolutely wonderful. And it's actually it's one thing. Sorry, I'm laughing. That's a lot. Yeah, their relationship, their chemistry after like one near-death experience, they're bound together for life. It's fantastic.
I mean, Finn loots the corpse, D&D style, but yeah.
Well, he's dead. He doesn't need that jacket. Like, I played an RPG.
I really think it. Yeah, I agree with you. I think Finn and Poe. I mean, Storm Pilot is a thing for a reason.
Sure. So, yeah. All right, that's mine. What do you got?
I actually really like the presentation of Smoke throughout the film.
Okay. I thought I was going to do all the technical stuff. All right, great. Yes, Smoke.
I'm going to go technical. I don't know if I'm going to go technical because I remember watching the movie and being like, this is like Palpatine, but it's not. I really thought this was something else. And with all the lore that I have in my head, I was like, who is this? Is it? I had a million theories in my head about the identity of that person. And the fact that he was like deformed and the fact that he was giant, but I could tell he wasn't. I knew he was a regular sized man. And the fact that he knew about the Skywalker and that apparently he saw Luke Skywalker as a rival, I was like, okay, so this guy is like the real deal. The hype for Snoke coming out of The Force Awakens was great, and I think it was executed perfectly. So yeah. Andy Serkis is always a great choice too.
I will always stand Andy Serkis outside of like Venom or something. Actually, that's not true. I like Venom with the Carnage. The point is, yes, Andy Serkis did a great job. It did actually build up a lot of mystique. There were so many articles, think pieces the world over. I remember the year this came out. Who is Snoke? Why Snoke is X? Why Snoke? Snoke is Mace Windu. Snoke is this. Snoke is this person.
Darth Plagueis was the
Darth Plagueis, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Oh god. Yeah, I think actually to piggyback off of that, I think the way that The Force Awakens sets up things for future movies is pretty well done. There were a lot of things people wanted to talk about coming out of The Force Awakens, and it's difficult to do to the level of successes they did. I think, people would have maybe wanted to know who Rey's mother or Rey's parents were coming out of it. They never mentioned it, but honestly, they never mentioned who Obi-Wan's parents were. They were just people, probably.
Okay. So that's that.
All right, that's you. I'm actually going to. We have complimented Finn and Poe. I'm going to say it. I think Daisy Ridley is great.
Right.
I have it. Yeah, yep. Right. Yeah, I love Daisy Ridley as Rey. I think it's a tough job.
Yeah, it is.
It's a tough job, not just because of the fan base that is probably expecting a honestly, you said it. I think a lot of the fan base expected John Boyega. He certainly got a lot of the trailer shots. So there was a lot of expectation that probably John Boyega is the new main character of the series. And here comes Daisy really having to try and not only take control of this franchise, but be an interesting character with
I said it. She has to be the new she has to be the farmer. She has to be our farmer.
Yeah,
She has to
she
be a
has to.
chosen one.
Yeah. And it not only is it a tough job, I think she does it really well. She also, to kind of finish your statement, she has to be different enough from Luke.
Yep.
That you're like, well, it's Luke again. And I don't agree that it's Luke again.
No.
But you do have to get the sense of, oh, this is the person that is going to resemble Luke the most at the end of it. Like I think George Lucas, who had some creative input, said that all these stories, they're rhyme. It's like poetry.
Yeah.
But so I think you do have to get
Star
the
Wars
sense.
is like poetry. It rhymes.
Like poetry.
That's
it rhymes. But you do have to get a sense
Star
of
Wars. Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I guess. You do have to get a sense of who it is that is, this is our person. And I think she just. I think she has to be like, you have to recognize that this is the person going forward. Yeah. Like we can't have walked out of The Force Awakens going, who do you think's the main character? We know who the main character is. It's the one with the ending. We know who it is, actually.
And I also think that this is the strongest movie for Rey. For me, I think Rey shines the most in this particular movie.
Sure. She does have to be very capable. I think I would much rather have I would much rather have The Force Awakens Rey than I would rather have A New Hope Luke. I would much rather
if I have to be locked up to face Darth Vader in a hallway, I will probably go with Force Awakens Rey. Yes.
She has to be, again, actually it's actually almost the exact opposite of Luke. She has to be very confident. Luke at the start of A New Hope is trying to get off this planet. Rey wants nothing more than to stay here. Like, she would love to go out and explore, but I got families coming. Just be very capable. She's killing people like regularly in this film. Like, she's assaulting, she's killing people. It's like she in a film series called Star Wars, she's ready for the war part. She's so ready. I think people don't know this about me. My favorite Disney movie is Mulan. And the only reason I think is because Mulan's just straight icing people like throughout.
And I actually think that her chemistry with most people is great.
Well, I do like her chemistry with Harrison Ford. That's a tough actor to work with, especially in an older Harrison Ford is a tough actor to go with.
Yeah,
but he's actually able to pull out some she's actually able to pull out some warmth.
Yeah, with Harrison Ford, with John Boyega, even with Adam Driver. I think that mostly everybody she acts against. Across.
Yeah, that's it.
I think it's a great chemistry with her, and I think she is one of the best performers of the sequel trilogy.
Yeah, and you can tell in, for example, the interrogation scene with Kylo Ren, she's trying to figure him out. She's trying to get on this same level. She's trying to understand, and then she kind of cracks him. And she has to play that. Whereas later on down the film, this is now, before it was like a confrontation, it's interrogation. Now it's a fight, and she has to pretend like she's not absolutely terrified. She's never held this weapon before.
She didn't. Actually, she is terrified of that weapon.
Yeah, she doesn't. Yeah,
no,
because she almost touched it. A really incredibly weird thing happened, and now here she is trying to combat someone that has way more experience with this weapon. And she has to try, and you can tell she's worried, scared, but she also has to try and have the confidence that, like, you know what, I've been in fights before. I have to try this. Like, the help might not be coming. Let's see what happens. And she gets to play through a whole range of emotions, from vulnerability to like deep anger at the loss of Han Solo. I think it's a really interesting performance. All right, that's right. What do you have?
Yeah, that's right. I have how the legend of Luke Skywalker is present. I mean, it's Luke Skywalker. I have how the legend of Luke Skywalker is presented throughout the movie. I don't think anybody has been more hyped in a Star Wars movie than Luke Skywalker has been in The Force Awakens. Like
All right.
the the feeling of watching Obi-Wan Kenobi Luke Skywalker at the end going, and I went like, yep, that's it. So everybody's going to be fine now. Luke Skywalker is here. He's like, we got Luke Skywalker, and now he's going to train Rey. He's going to do everything, and now, it didn't happen, but I had that feeling of that. Yeah, I think Luke Skywalker needs to be found. Luke Skywalker is the prime objective because we all know that Luke Skywalker is a Jedi. We all know what he can do, and we need to find him to fix this. And that feeling of, the only way to fix everything is to get Luke Skywalker, and how that was presented throughout the movie, and how Luke Skywalker is actually presented to us at the end of the movie. I think it enhances his legendary figure that apparently was built up for the last 30 years. That he became a legend, and I think that the movie does a great job showing us that we are talking about almost mythology at this point in Luke Skywalker, and I really, really love that sense of my favorite character, whatever,
Sure.
made a myth.
Yeah.
I really like to see my favorite character made a myth and like worshipped as a hero. I really, really love that. As a personal level, because I really love Luke Skywalker. That's basically what Luke Skywalker was for me as a kid, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. I do agree that it's really interesting, and I actually think it's interesting not just for Luke, but for Leia and Han as well. They've taken on mythic roles now, and you're right. The objective for The Force Awakens is, for both sides actually, is find Luke Skywalker. The First Order realizes, oh god, they're looking for Luke. We can't let them have. We can't get them to get Luke. That would be an ordeal. That would be, oh no, we got to do this. We got to track down Luke. We got to get this Luke guy out of here. But you can't have Luke effectively in the story because then it would be fine. Like Luke could save us all. Actually, probably. He's probably doing all right. Is Luke still around? He's still alive? Great. Let's track that guy down. It makes total sense to want to track down Luke. And I think not just in this, but in the movie that comes after, they treat Luke as a beacon. People see people that have met Luke, like, Luke leaves and R2-D2 shuts down. It's like, well, all right, Luke's gone, so I guess I'll just take a nap. Wake me up later. It is an interesting use of the character, a really clever use of the character. It's very Obi-Wan. Yeah, you said it, Obi-Wan Luke. Because Obi-Wan in his prime was pretty effective Jedi. But obviously that guy can't just be around having adventures. Probably that's not how storytelling works.
We'll see. May 25th. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
I'm so excited for that.
Yeah, me too. I absolutely agree. I think the use of Luke, and you know what? I'm just gonna piggyback it onto my next point. The use of Leia and Han as well. It's smaller. It's a bit, it's not as an impact as Luke, but their legend has also grown. Aboard the Millennium Falcon, Han Solo is either a smuggler, he's a war hero, he's a general. Which one is it? It's all of them. It's all of the things. And even some of the facts are wrong because they would be. 14 parsecs instead of 12. Like that's a mistake that somebody would have made if they had heard a story and then told it, and then
Yeah.
that story was told again. As well as for Leia, people are still calling her princess. People are still calling her royalty. Whereas, she's right now, she is currently general. But
Mhm.
there's such a high level of respect for both of
Yeah.
those characters on, the different sides and all throughout the different factions. I think it's just a very nice, I think it's
Homage.
lovely. Yeah, it's a lovely execution for a film that's obviously nostalgic for the original trilogy. Like it's pretty clearly nostalgic
Yeah.
for it, and I think it's just a nice bow for those characters to
And
have.
here's the thing, I was all for the nostalgia. Like I was
Yeah,
like, yeah, give it to me. I mean, I want nostalgia like right here. I don't I was not going into the movie wanting like I want something super original and I want something new and I want to be super no. I want the
I mean,
characters that I love. Yeah,
yeah.
give it to me.
And it's and I don't know if you followed the like the casting announcement. So and so is going to be in this movie, but like we know that Luke's going to be here. We know that Leia's going to be here. We know that Han's going to be here. So just
Yeah,
give us the character. It's fine.
yeah.
I mean, I technically just went, but I'm gonna go again. Uh, I think one of the best. This movie has one of the best scenes in all of Star Wars.
Right.
Spoilers. You should have seen it by now, though. It'd be weird if you were watching the show without having seen the movie. Han Solo's death
Okay, yeah. I was
is
actually had that.
okay. Is one of the best put together scenes from an overall perspective for the entirety of the franchise. The use of color, the tight in camera shots, the music, I think it's all there. It's pretty much perfect. It just overall, the blue turning into red as the sun goes out.
Yeah.
The two inching closer, they're as close now as they've been in years. And it was so, he was so close. Han Solo was so close to having like the genuine positive moment with his son, and it just went the other way. You could tell that there's like a moment that it's possible that
Yeah.
he could maybe bring his son home, and it just flips. It just goes the other way because like it's just what happened in the moment. Like the character of Kylo Ren had a decision to make, and that was which way he went. And
I should
and go ahead.
I should probably point out that now that you're talking about that, I should probably point out that I really it really makes me laugh that the only person that actually was like there is still good in him and didn't backfire was Luke. Everybody else that said it kind of felt like Padme said it in Revenge of the Sith. Then Leia said it in this movie, and well, she lost a husband. Rey said it in, I think it was in the next movie, and then Kylo Ren basically decided that now I'm supreme leader now. The only person that actually says there is still good in him is Luke Skywalker, and actually comes to fruition. Yeah, it was a nice detail that I really like pointing out, because I think that Star Wars likes to do redemptions, but not every time somebody sends a redemption quality has to be right. So,
Sure.
yeah.
Yeah. I love that the entire scene. Harrison Ford once again managing to give a fuck for like just 2 or 3 minutes. But it was as effective as that character could have possibly been in the moment. It's not like a tearful scene. No one on screen is crying. It's not even like a very loud scene. It's two people just talking face to face, having a moment, and it turns violent because one of them, unfortunately, just happens to choose violence at that moment in time. And I love that scene so much. It's probably the scene that I've thought most about from the sequel trilogy, absolutely, and maybe in the whole of Star Wars.
So I really like the fact that they managed to use the. I think they both performed at their best in the movie, and probably in in like the trilogy, because the fact that as soon as Han walked in the bridge, and I was like in my mind, I remember exactly like going like, only one of them is coming out of that bridge.
Mm.
I knew only one of them was coming out, but I was so sure. But during the scene, during the conversation, I was like, maybe they managed to do. You're a wrestling fan. I know you're a wrestling fan,
Yeah.
and there is like, if you, if uh, there is like the obvious favorite in a squash match,
Yeah.
obvious favorite that was going against a jobber. This is like probably mostly people, only people that know wrestling will know. But if there is like the obvious to put it on layman's terms, if Darth Vader is going against
Unkar plot.
Anchor Plot, Watto. If Darth Vader is going against Watto,
Watto, yes, absolutely.
you know that Vader is winning. There is no chance. But then if somehow Watto pokes Darth Vader in the eye, or Watto takes Sun and throws him at Darth Vader's face, and Darth Vader is like, oh shit, it's his son. You go like, wait, is it going to? And then Darth Vader just decapitates him.
Yeah.
That split second of, I know it's not happening, but maybe something is going to happen. So I think they managed to have that moment, and I really, really like it.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that moment. What else do you have?
That's all.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I can't go on, but those were like the big
those are the big ones.
The big
okay, I just
want
to I want to shout out a few more people.
Okay.
Domhnall Gleeson. Fantastic.
Okay, yeah, that Nazi speech was really Nazi.
No notes. Good work. No notes. Good work. Fantastic shit. Who else?
BB-8 is really cute on that movie.
BB-8's cute. I hope they sold a lot of toys. Actually, I know for a fact that they sold a lot of BB-8 toys. So whoever designed BB-8. And I guess we should talk about it. Adam Driver's really good.
Oh yeah.
Adam Driver, we talked about the golden the golden trio, but Adam Driver really is. Apparently, the guy's like super tall. He's like huge, apparently, and he manages to put all of that on screen. He's intimidating, and I think again one of the cooler moments of the film is the opening when you have to get a clear sense of how.
Yeah. Sorry,
Okay, when the descent of Kylo Ren, the arrival of Kylo Ren.
Let's talk about that.
Hey, back to John Williams' corner. Back to John Williams' corner for a second. The arrival of Kylo Ren.
Yeah.
Aces. When he stops the blaster bolt, and it doesn't just stop it on his hand. He doesn't like bat it away with a lightsaber. He dead stops it kinetically. I think like that's a new power that we hadn't seen before. And really, like, and one that the characters note as Poe's being dragged away. He's like, "What the fuck?" Like, if they could curse multiple, like, he's like, "What?" Because it's just in suspension. Like, it wants to keep traveling. There's still kinetic energy there, but it's stuck. I think Adam Driver does a fantastic job as Kylo Ren. I love him as Kylo Ren. Just a lot of power and magnitude from an actor that I don't know how many people took notice of before The Force Awakens. He wasn't like a huge actor. He'd been in some stuff. I'd seen him in some stuff before, but like he just got like a huge boost from being in Star Wars. And I think he knew that like I gotta nail this. I gotta nail this shit because this is the shot. And he just went like so far with it, and it was so good.
And speaking of that, I think it was actually one of the most brutal scenes that we have seen on screen. The village fight.
Oh, the mass the village. Absolutely.
Because There is youngling killing, but we don't see it. There is a planet blowing up, but we don't see the people. But we actually see stormtroopers firing
Yeah.
at the villagers. We actually see stormtroopers with the flamethrowers.
Yeah.
And this is a fun fact that I have read, and I hope I'm right. There is a scene, or in the novelization or something, that Kylo Ren asks the stormtroopers to gather the ashes of those people that he just burned. And you know, when he takes off the helmet and he puts it down, and there is like something there that's dust, those are the ashes of the villagers he just burned down. And I think that makes that scene much more brutal. I don't know.
Thank you for that surprisingly dark update. I was not aware of that until you told me last night when we were talking about how we were going to do the show, and I was like, "What the fuck?" And you know what? It's gonna be weird to say. I hope that that's true. I hope that that's like genuinely accurate, because it does. It makes that scene a lot weirder and cooler. It's so weird. Yeah, I actually on the subject of how brutal the arrival. I think actually The Force Awakens is one of the most brutal Star Wars movies, because you actually do see the reaction on Starkiller base when those lasers are firing at the planet. David, what's the planet?
Hosnian Prime.
Good shit.
Yeah.
When Starkiller base fires, you see the people on the planet like, oh boy, oh my god, we're all doomed. Oh god. I think that's like very effective. Because before we'd seen the Death Star, we'd see him blow up. You're like, whoa, can't let that happen again. And they say this is this bigger Death Star, but this time you see the Death Star. It's like a splinter fire, and destroy like the entire system all at once. And you're like, oh my god. And you really zoom in on a lot of what Star Wars. I think some of my favorite parts are the actual war of it. I think that it's brutal, but I think exactly what it needs to establish the First Order as like reminiscent of the Empire, but doing stuff that we had never seen the Empire really do. And I think it was just really effective, at least for me.
Yeah. And that's it for me.
I probably it for me as well, because this episode's gonna hit an hour. I don't know why we ended on like the most brutal shit. We probably should make our list better.
Yeah.
Next time. So that's it. So of right, is that it? Probably won't end up on the murders at the end, unless we do. We're not like doing this from like this. This is literally the list, fam. So thank you for coming to watch. I hope some of you watch this. We're probably gonna do it even if you don't. Honestly, we've already committed to Let's Love Star Wars. This is weird. I love this show though already. I can already tell we're gonna do this show forever. It's great. That's David. I'm Alex, and remember, I'm not gonna do the whole like outro bit, but like,
may the Force be with you guys.
May the Force be with you always.
Hitting the button, my mouse didn't want to work. Yeah.